What's going on, guys? This is Empty Box, and this is Battlefield 3 with some of that armored kill goodness. Gonna be rocking around in some tanks and tank destroyers because that's what you do. Gonna be a little bit of action on Bandar Desert, then a little bit on Alborz Valley, or mountain. Why do I always want to call it a valley when it's a giant freaking mountain? How could you get that wrong? I can't help it. I'm from Iowa. We don't have mountains around here. But this guy up here, I'm gonna end up killing him. You may have seen his name tag, but Lieutenant Creeping Death. Jihad Jeeps are not creeping death. I'm just going to go ahead and point that out. Maybe that's a really ironic name. Or maybe it's a very factual name. Maybe it'll be really sneaky at some point in this video. Maybe not. I don't know, but my topic for today is going to be, did Armored Kill save this franchise that has been around for about a decade now, if not a little bit longer, but holy crap, Battlefield is old. I hope Battlefield doesn't live in dog years, because then it'd be like 70 and we'd be sending it to the retirement home. Back in my day, I used to fight over Wake Island 24 hours a day. Anyways, you never know what you're going to get when you come to one of my videos. And that's what makes them different, because I don't even know what I'm doing here. But first of all, the heavy machine gun on the MBTs is absolutely destructive. And it was beforehand, but now that it fires like 10,000 times faster, it's even better. So go ahead and use it. Except for the fact on the T90, which you'll see later in the game, it looks like someone literally just duct taped a 50 cal to the turret. It's just like, really? Just some straps and you're good to go? That's it? Okay. Must be that Russian engineering. Anyways, yes, Battlefield is ancient. It has been around for a very long time. It's changed several times, for the better, for the worse, whatever. That's really irrelevant, sort of, at this point in the video. But the thing is, Battlefield 3 changed things in a pretty weird way, to be perfectly honest, you know. It wasn't Bad Company, which a lot of players loved, myself included, and, you know, originally Bad Company was the console spin-off. It was a little bit different. Bad Company 1 really was worthy of the Battlefield name, if you ask me. It's definitely much bigger than Bad Company 2, which I think a lot of PC players who weren't exposed to Bad Company 1 do not understand at all. But, you know, then Bad Company 2 came around and everything just became smaller. I'm not saying it became worse, but, you know, I definitely enjoyed Bad Company 2, still do to this day, but it changed, and a lot of players began to think that Battlefield was Bad Company 2, so to speak. Then, you know, oh, these maps are so large and the game's so boring. Why are there so many vehicles? Well, this is Battlefield, not Bad Company, which, you know, I think a lot of players didn't understand that necessarily, but as well as the fact that a lot of players just wanted that, and that is pretty awesome. That is what makes Battlefield awesome right there. Like, I get my tank blowing up, I see another tank, I run over there, I take it, or strike that, reverse it. Kill some people, and then I, you know, jump out of my tank that's about to get blown up and fire an RPG at just the right time to, you know, get some damage in on it as the helicopter comes in overhead and saves my bacon. That is awesome. That is why Battlefield is awesome. You just don't get that in really too terribly many shooters. You just don't. You really don't. But, you know, with Battlefield 3, it changed things to the point where I don't think anyone was really happy with Battlefield 3, except for a very small group. You know, you had the Bad Company players who wanted Battlefield 3 to be more like Bad Company, or I should say Bad Company 2, and then you had the Battlefield 2 diehards who are like, oh my god, this is an exact copy of Battlefield 2 with Frostbite 2 graphics. I feel ripped off. This isn't right. And they wanted just basically Battlefield 2 and only Battlefield 2, and anything else they changed was completely, it was a sin. It's a sin against Battlefield kind, but, you know, I mean, really, you have the PC gamers who are pissed off at the maps being too small for PC and 64 players, and just missing some fairly basic features. I mean, but a lot has been made about that, so we really don't need to go down there again. And then you have the console players who are basically, I can't imagine having to play this map with 40 fewer players. Like, this map is already almost too big, even with 64 players. But to have 40 less players, that's just a lot of people vanished, you know. Everybody was unhappy with Battlefield 3. And I think, you know, that kind of is going to be how it's going to end up going down. That said, Armored Kill has seemingly been pretty darn successful in, I hate to use this word, but placating those angry players who wanted Battlefield 2 HD. And by the way, driving a T90 down a mountain in snow is not nearly as easy as it looks. I don't know what it was, but I was really having a tough time controlling this thing. And just watch what happens with this 1128. Get the disable. He's firing back at me with the little machine guns. Yeah, like 6 guys just like come out of there. It's like, what is this, a Chinese fire drill? By the way, I never did understand the Chinese fire drill. Maybe someone can explain that to me down below in the comment section. Or maybe I can just go ahead and pull up Wikipedia and see what that's all about. But anyways, you know, I definitely think that Battlefield 3 took a giant step in the right direction. You know, I'm not a vehicle player. I've said this many a times. But at the same time, to have maps where I actually do enjoy using vehicles because you can feel like they're built for vehicle usage, it's just a great change of pace. You know, it definitely has the slower pace that actually makes Battlefield better. If you ask me, one of the coolest things about Battlefield is the fact that it plays to the pace that you play it. You know, some other shooters just naturally play slow, some of them naturally play fast. I mean, you think of a game like Quake or Doom, you know, it's not a slow-paced game. It's never going to be. I mean, you literally can't play that game in a slow-paced way. And yes, this whole time I was an assault because I was the douchebag who stole the tank out of the main spawn as an assault player rather than an engineer, which you probably shouldn't do, but I picked up an engineer along the way somehow. Thank God. That's good team play right there, but a little bit more on that here in just about a couple seconds. But the fact that it is slower, it is a little bit, you know, more tactical in many of the approaches. You know, I'm not just rushing in there with my tank and being like, I'm driving the tank so you can just, like, not kill me. But at the same time, when stuff happens, it happens, and it's awesome because of that. You know, it's that high and low, the peaks and valleys that make it special, which Battlefield 3 was really lacking, you know, so to speak, because Battlefield 3 was just pow, 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 pow on so many of the maps, you know, before this pack, which, I don't know, it definitely feels like the game is 10 times better with Armored Kill. It definitely feels like it is actually somehow completed this game, which I think was definitely important, and I definitely think will actually, you know, help the Battlefield series in the future, because really, if they add even more of these types of maps, which I hope they definitely do, you know, I could definitely see Battlefield staying around and not becoming the Call of Duty that is, you know, right now, where it's just the butt end of every joke. So, I don't know. It very well could have saved the franchise. I'm not saying it's going to be like alive forever and ever and ever because of Armored Kill, because it's not, but it definitely did a lot towards improving things. But anyways, another great thing about Armored Kill is it seems like the players that you play with are 10 times smarter than what you see in the regular maps. I kid you not. Like, at some point early on back with this T90, you know, I'm an assault guy. I shouldn't be in this tank. I have no business driving this thing, but plus the fact I drive like an Asian woman. But, you know, one of my squad mates or tank mates, whatever you want to call him, he hops out, he kills the guy who's like repair tooling my tank to death. And then he like steals his kit, I believe, and boom, we got an engineer. Smart play by that guy. Well done. Repairs the tank and we're off, and, you know, it is what it is, and we just keep on rolling, you know. Good team play, which is something you really don't see a lot in Battlefield 3. Somewhat because it's not nearly as necessary, but also it seems like the players are just smarter. I mean, you play against team deathmatch players, they're morons, and had I not gotten disabled, that tank would have been toast, which would have been really great. I was in such a good position there, just overlooking that rock. He didn't have a chance in hell of hitting me, but that damn chopper. Anyways, let me know what you think. Bye.